Okay, so in this section, we are talking about the TriVelo Code. The TriVelo Code is something that's pretty simple but very important because it's basically the rules and the values that we want our athletes that come into this program to live by. And there's 6 very important codes, and they might seem simple, but we really want to go through them now and explain what each one means and how we want you to start acting now that you're a part of the TriVelo family. And number 1 is very, very simple. It's I am on the results side of the equation. So we look at this as basically you can either have results or you can have excuses. All right? We want to be on the results side of the equation. So explain what that means.
So pretty simply, the program is set out very straightforward for you, day by day, session by session. And along the journey, you may have things that crop up in your family or work situation, and you could use them as an excuse, but you could also navigate your way around those things that do crop up. So when you say results or excuses, you can either choose to do all the sessions and get them done 7 out of 7 sessions each week, or 6 out of 7 depending on what your program is for the particular week. Or you could say, I got 3 sessions done because I had this happen, that happen, etc. in work or family, which are valid, legitimate excuses, but they are going to be a reason why you're not going to achieve as quickly as you might want. And that's the bottom line. If you don't get the results of, say, ticking off today's session, that's going to prolong your improvement. So don't get 4 results out of 7. That's going to make 50% of your possible improvement take twice as long.
Yep.
So really, if you look at it like that, if you're going towards a particular race, you're not going to get to that race in the shape that you want to because you've got lots of excuses along the way. If you're just trying to aim to improve yourself as a cyclist, then the actual end date isn't important, but it's going to take you longer. So you're going to add possibly 4 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on how many excuses you can come up with. And that's why we're trying to talk about results versus excuses. You want to be on the results side of the equation because there's no reason why you won't improve. And I've got so many examples of people who are just ticking off the consistency, ticking off the sessions, and they're just improving out of sight week by week. And it's so enjoyable to watch.
Yep.
Whereas you see a group of people who are always on the phone, always texting, can't do this, can't do that. I'm sorry about that. Don't apologise to me. You're the one who has to take responsibility for your own sessions. And you're going to be the reason why you don't improve as quickly as the others in the group. And don't underestimate how that will help you eventually, knowing and seeing other people who are doing the results-based training compared to the other side of the equation, which is we call the excuse-based training.
And that's why we call it an equation as well, because you can't be on both sides of the equation. You're either getting the results that you want or you've got excuses. At the end of the week, you're either going to have the results or you're going to be calling up or texting or posting in the group saying that, this is why I didn't get the result that I wanted. And it's your choice, and it's really as simple as that. And that kind of takes us to code number 2, which is I take responsibility. And that's you as the athlete taking responsibility to be on the results side. You're in charge of your own results. We can give you everything that you need, and we do give you everything that you need to improve and to reach your goal. But it's up to you to do it. We can't actually do it for you. If we could, we would. We'd really try.
Yeah, and what do we mean by take responsibility? Well, if you've got a particular session that's due on Thursday and you know you've got your kid's parent-teacher interviews and you can't do it, well, I don't know that as a coach. And therefore, you need to take responsibility, knowing what's ahead in your calendar, your schedule, and the key sessions that we've talked about in the other videos that you really need to achieve. You need to take responsibility on making sure that you don't miss those sessions. So that's one aspect of taking responsibility of your own destiny almost.
And taking responsibility means that if you want to get the results, then do exactly as we say and follow the program. And we have, like I said, we have everything here to help you with that. So we've even got videos on if you need to replace sessions, if you need to swap sessions. There's videos on exactly how to do that, how to make sure that you hit the important sessions. If you have to miss a session throughout the week and you can't make that up, which session to actually miss, which session to skip, which session to make sure you complete. So really, there are no excuses if you want to get the results you want, but ultimately you have to be the one that takes responsibility.
Yeah, and look, also if there's wet weather days that, you've got set for a particular day and you're meant to be outside, well, there are things you can do to take responsibility for. It might rain just an hour before you go out on the bike, and it's dangerous. I would not encourage people to go out when it's wet. So you do a wet weather session, and you can come up with some session that's previously been on your program that you may have missed that you might like to try. It's something we don't encourage, but at the last minute, that's taking responsibility. And getting something done is better than, even if it's not exactly what we wanted, but it's better than, it was wet, so I didn't know what to do. That's not taking responsibility. That's actually making an excuse.
And we do have all wet weather sessions available in case.
Yes.
Anyway, but the point is take initiative and take responsibility. And that leads us to our next point, which is code number 3, I'll leave my ego at the door. And what does that mean? Leaving your ego at the door. Once you've entered the door into the TriVelo world, why do I not leave the ego?
I think if you think about, I'm here to help other people, and if I do a good job of encouraging and helping other people, that'll actually rub off on myself. I will actually do a good job of helping myself. An old adage that I've just tried to live by is, if I can help as many other people in the world, I'll actually feel good about myself, and I'll want to improve myself anyway. So it's really good to actually have that mindset that I'm here to help and encourage other people in our small little group of TriVelo cyclists. And if you've got that approach, then once you start to get some enjoyment out of seeing how other people are improving from your assistance, from your conversation in the group sessions, from your example of how you're training, that's actually helping other people. And that's what we don't want you to be in there telling other people how good you are. We want your actions to be showing others how well you're doing, rather than you talking about. So it's the ego thing is, we've got lots of riders already in the TriVelo group who are incredibly successful. We've got world champion road race winners, we've got national record holders, national title holders, etc. We don't hear any of those guys bragging about what they've done. They get out there, they help others on the training track, they're encouraging, they set an example, they set the standard, and they're the things that we really want you to do, is to not have an ego, and just be one of those people who fits in and is, you may be the most outstanding rider in our group, but you don't have to tell everybody that.
And don't get us wrong, we will celebrate all TriVelo achievements, we'll celebrate all wins, and we make sure that everyone is known. But
we'll do that for you,
exactly,
rather than you having to do it yourself.
And there's a difference between being competitive and having an ego, and we say leave the ego at the door. We want you to be as competitive as possible because we want you to strive to get the result that you want. But leaving your ego at the door means you don't come in thinking that you're already better and that you already know better, because you're not going to follow the program, you're not going to contribute to the group. And the reason we do it is because we want to have a supportive TriVelo family where everyone feels welcome and everyone has an enjoyable time. But you know that when there's someone with a big ego in the group, it does ruin it for everyone else.
Especially if you get to your Saturday bunch ride, and it might be with the TriVelo group or it might be with your own group, which is your option. If you're just a show-off in that group, then the people in your group may not want to ride with you that much. But if you're really strong and show by example rather than showing off, then there's a difference. People will want to actually really ride with you because they know they're going to improve. And the same goes the opposite end. If you're struggling in that group, the good riders need to take notice of what's happening and try and help not try and smash them every week. There's times when you need to really ride hard. And in our program, when you're riding probably during the midweek sessions when you're on your own, they're the times when no one's watching you. They're the times to really put in the effort and make the great gains that you can make. When there's, ego is about you showing off when people are watching. And during the week, that's the time to, there's no one watching you, but do the things that will make you a better rider.
Overall, exactly right. It's pretty simple, but it's also just we have a few athletes come in and try and think that they know better, but they want to improve. Those two things can't go hand in hand. You either leave your ego at the door and follow the program as we set it, or you don't follow it and try and do your own thing, and we know how that turns out most of the time.
And we don't want to be controlling people in certain sessions, and the bunch ride is one of those sessions where when it's time to go as hard as you can and try and beat the other guys, but do it with modesty. Do it with your head down and don't show off sort of thing. That's what we're trying to say.
Definitely. And that ties in with Code 4, which is I will listen. And that's just, you're here to improve, and we know how to help you improve. And we're not trying to force you to take in everything we say as gospel. We're happy to explain why we do what we do and why each session is as it is, but we just want to stop you from making the same mistakes that we've seen so many other athletes make. And we want you just to, leave your ego at the door and listen to the instructions.
And the listening part is something that sometimes I struggle with because I think I've got my message across and the videos all say the same things, and I end up saying repeatedly the same message, which means that people aren't actually listening. So if I have to tell you the same thing 3 or 4 times, you actually haven't listened the first time.
Yeah.
Or you're just waiting for me to stop talking and then do your own thing.
Yeah.
And look, I've got so many examples of guys who've come into the program and done 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks of their version of our program and eventually got that frustrated because they've seen other people do 100% version of the program.
Yeah.
And they in the end go, I get it now. I need to actually follow the sessions session by session and listen to what the advice is for the session and what the goals and outcomes are, rather than doing my version, which in fact has now lost me 4 weeks, compared to the people who followed the program. So the listening bit is a key. And if you don't actually listen to what the instructions are, you may not understand what the actual purpose is of the session. So that's key to it, and it's a real thing that you'll not waste time in your development as an improved rider.
Because you've seen countless examples, haven't you, of people coming to you after whether it's 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 6 months and say, all right, I'll give in, I'll do your version.
Yeah. And you think, why did you join in the first place if you were going to do a version of it? You can't actually measure whether it's working for you unless you give it 100%. If you give it 80%, and you do it for 3 months, you really don't know whether it works because you only did 80% of it.
Yeah.
The only way to tell if something works is to give it 100% commitment. And for me, that doesn't make sense. If you're going to pay money for a program, why wouldn't you be 100% committed to it? Yeah. So don't come into this program not 100% committed and not willing to listen and change and adapt to what we're trying to get you, because we have that many examples of people who've come from stagnated as a bike rider to all of a sudden improving out of sight because they've listened and followed the program.
Yeah. And on that note, one of the main things that you'll hear throughout all the videos is the rule of consistency. So our code is I aim for consistency and not perfection.
Yeah, and the example clearly is, nailing 2 sessions out of 7, feeling very good about yourself.
Doing them perfectly,
but not able to finish the other 5. The consistency factor, you're better off doing all 7 sessions prescribed for you as well as you can, and not probably hitting 100% on each one of them, but hitting between 90 and 100%, of the achievement that we're trying to get. Yeah. And that will actually be far more successful method than hitting 2 or 3 sessions per week. Perfectly.
What we see with people doing perfect sessions is they'll go out for a ride and they'll smash themselves and do 150k and just be on fire. And they'll go, I just absolutely nailed that session. That was perfect, even if it was over what we prescribed. And then the next day or the next 2 days, they're too tired to do another session. So
and there is a differentiation between what you perceive as perfect and what the program is telling you to do. Yeah. So if it says to do, 2 to 2.5 hours, then sure, go to 2.5 hours if that's the extra you want to do. Yeah. If it says 5 hours to 6 hours and you're feeling good, go to 6 hours. But remember, if you don't back up 2, 3, 4 days later, that decision to go the extra is, to strive to improve to perfection is actually counterproductive. Try not to be perfect, try to be consistent.
Yeah, exactly right. If you're perfectly consistent, then that's also fine.
Yes.
Just as long as you're consistent.
That's right, yep.
Yeah. And the last one, we've touched on this, but it's I contribute to the group and help others. And that's really important because what we love about the TriVelo family is that it is a tight-knit group and it is a group where everyone supports each other, and it makes the whole process so much more enjoyable, where you know that if you see another TriVelo athlete on the road, or if you ever catch up with them, or even online in the Facebook group, everyone's here supporting each other. Everyone wants to see each other improve, and that is such a better alternative compared to being on your own and trying to do everything on your own.
Yeah, the family idea, I mean, the most successful groups of people are people who stick together. The most successful teams in any sport are the teams that stick together and help and assist each other. There's so many examples. We have the time trial race on the weekend. We had all our TriVelo athletes, 15 of them all warming up pretty much at the same time. Someone had a mechanical, before you knew it, 3 or 4 people were over assisting.
Yep.
It may happen to you. We want people to be prepared very well for each race, but things go wrong in your preparation. And if you're there with a family, like TriVelo, you're going to get assistance from someone. If you're there as an individual on your own, you're really struggling, and you could actually not end up getting into the race or start the race.
Yeah.
We also have things like for many events that we go to, we take the TriVelo tents and we share the experience of the warm-up and the race and the after. And that's really important that we're all together as a unit and enjoy each other's company, the social side of it. And also you witnessing people who are very good at their sport and watch what they do, the professionalism, how do they go about it, how do they prepare.
Yeah.
And I'm giving everybody the same warm-up, but it's how you prepare. You get there early or do you get there late? Do you have all your stuff laid out? Do you have the right pump and the attachment for your disc wheel? All these little things. Do you have the number cutter for cutting off the extra stuff from the quick strap release thing that they use to tie the numbers on? Yeah. All that preparation stuff is really important. And the warm down, if you see other people in the group warming down and you think, I can't be bothered with the warm down, but all of a sudden you see 15 other people on their trainers.
TriVelo people, that is.
Yeah, TriVelo people on their trainers warming down. Well, it's incentive for you. That's what, it is the sheep mentality, but it's an idea that, you may as an individual just skip that version or part of your training. And they're the key things that the group brings, things that you can learn from the group.
And understand that TriVelo family is an online family, but the reason this comes up a lot is because we, even if you're interstate to anywhere in Australia, there's a lot of events where you will see another TriVelo athlete where you might go to a big race in whatever state it is, and you'll probably run into someone there. And to know them online and then to be able to see them at a race and then to know that you see the TriVelo colours, that's someone that you're going to support and help, and they're going to help and support you. That's why we have it as one of our codes, is that you actively contribute to the group, because there's nothing better than knowing that if you do a good race, if you do a good ride, that you're going to be able to share it with TriVelo family rather than just enjoying the success. And everyone likes sharing the success with others.
Yeah, and the kudos will come from everybody in the group. And we love seeing, that's why we have the Monday Wrap for everybody around Australia, whether you're a runner, a triathlete or a cyclist.
Yeah.
We have all those things to give kudos for people who are not just winning, it's about improving. And look, you'll be amazed once you get into the kit. It's a very standout kit, and you can see it coming the other direction on the road. In the bunches around Melbourne, I can see the TriVelo kit stand out a mile away, and it's a bit of fun waving to someone going the other way, knowing they're doing a similar session. So the camaraderie from seeing other people in your kit is, and even if you don't know them, it's you get to know them.
So the more you contribute and help the group, and the more you individually do it, the more other people do it. That's what creates a family. But if you just expect other people to support you without you contributing, then the family doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and look, if you contribute to the group, you will actually benefit from it yourself. There's no doubt about that, and that's something that we're really strong on. We really want this team family aspect to be really one of the main aspects of the group. So you actually feel like you belong to something.
So like we said, these 6 codes are quite simple but very important to our mindset and to you as an athlete as part of the TriVelo family now. We want you to take these codes and live by them, live by these values as you're doing the program and as you're in the group. And apart from that, it's just welcome to the TriVelo family, and we're stoked to have you here.
Yep, fantastic.